Please be seated. The court is now back in session, and we'd like now to give the floor to the lead co-lawyers for civil parties to continue putting questions to this witness. You may proceed. Civil party lawyer. Thank you, Mr. President, and good afternoon, Your Honors and everyone. Mr. Witness, I'd like you to give more clarification on the issue of typing documents. Can you tell the court the person who brought the handwritten document to you, was it done by that person personally, or was the document left somewhere and you would only go to pick that handwritten document up and typed it all day? And how long did it take you to type those documents? Was it an hour or 2 hour work, or was it a all day long work? Answer. When I was assigned to type the documents, usually it takes less than an hour or less than half an hour to finish it, because the document was short, and I was only called to type occasionally. It happened once a week or once a fortnight, and after I finished typing, I would return to my gap post. Question. I'd like now to clarify with you again on the prisoners being brought in. When prisoners were brought in, while you were inside the compound, the prison compound, was it your job to receive the prisoners and take them to the prisoners' buildings? Answer. During the time that I used the typewriter there, that was not the period that I received any prisoners. Prisoners were brought in from either the west or the east, and then they would be handed over to the prison staff. For example, from the west entrance, the prison staff at the west gate would receive them. As to the role of the guards there, the prison staff who were there at the gate was the one who received the prisoners, not the guards like myself. Thank you. Question. Did you know about the arrangement of the prisoners in the two buildings? Were children or women put aside, or were they mixed together with male prisoners? Answer. I did not know about that. Question. What about the food ration for those prisoners? Can you tell the court? Answer. As to the food ration, from what I could observe, The most food that a prisoner could eat or was given was a coconut shell full of rice. That was the most. Question. Was the coconut shell used for rice or for other things? Answer. The coconut shell was used for gruel or for cooked rice mixed with soup in it. Question. But for your group, how was the food ration like for your group? Answer. For my unit, in fact, we ate outside the compound, and our food was not related to the food given to the prisoners. Although our food was not really sufficient, but it was better than the food ration given to prisoners. Thank you. Question. Do you know a person by the name of Dutch? Answer, yes. Question. Did you have any contact or relationship with him? Did you ever have a joint meal together? Answer, no, I did not. Question. Within Kangtachan Security Center, did you know how many staff working inside? Answer. In Kangtachan Security Center, I did not know the exact number of staff working there. Question. Mr. Witness, did you ever see a prisoner or several prisoners who could move around freely within the prison compound? For example, a prisoner would go to clean up a place, like in a typing room. Answer. Yes, I saw one man by the name of Dam who did the sweeping of the ground and watering the vegetable. Question. During the time that you work there, was there a ceremony of the so-called making a resolution, or in simple term of getting married, held at the data center? Answer, no, there was none. Question. You were questioned by the co-prosecutor in relation to the time that prisoners were killed, that they play music over a loudspeaker. Was such a music played over a mobile loudspeaker? Answer: no, there was none. Question: during the time that you worked there, did you see two women who were sent from a mobile unit through the center? And if so, did you know what happens to them later on? Answer: no, I did not meet them nor see them. Question: when you did the typing of the documents, did you come across the names of the two women? Answer: no, I was not aware of that, as I did not pay attention to it. I did not know their names, because there were several names. Question: you stated that you saw tortured prisoners. Can you tell the court where did you exactly see them? Answer: to respond to your question, I myself did not witness the torture prisoners. What I heard was the screaming of the torture prisoners, but I did not witness them with my own eyes. Question: how far were you from the prisoners when you heard the screaming? Were you at your guard post, or were you in the typing room when you heard the screaming? Answer: I could also hear the screaming from my guard post if the scream was high or loud, but usually only when I was closer that I could hear the screaming. However, usually we were not allowed to go near when the interrogation was ongoing, as we were directed to stay at our guard post outside the perimeter of the compound. Question: you stated that a messenger came on a CL motorbike to the center on a monthly basis. Did you personally see him? That is the messenger? Answer: I never said a messenger came on a monthly basis. I said occasionally a messenger came, and not on a monthly basis. I only saw a messenger with a cap or with a scarf around the neck came into the center, and I did not recognize the face or know the man. Thank you, Mr. Witness and Mr. President. I do not have any further questions. President, thank you. Judges of the bench, Do you wish to put questions to the witness? Judge Levin, you may proceed.
Oui, merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a few follow-up questions for the witness. Witness, you told the chamber that you were detached from the 13th Regiment and that you were detached from that regiment to mount guard at Krangtachan. What was the name of your superior? Since according to you, that person was neither Ta'an nor Duke. What was the name of your superior?
The commander of Division 210 and Regiment 13 that I knew was Ta and Min.
Comment receviez-vous des ordres?
How did you receive orders from Ta and Min? How far away from you was the regiment to which you belonged?
Regiment 13 did not have a fixed base. It was constantly on mobile in various villages, and it was 100 kilometers away from the center, that is from Krangtachan center, and in some cases it was about 80 kilometers from Krangtachan.
Comment communiquiez-vous avec?
How did you communicate with the superior who was 80 kilometers, 100 kilometers from Krangtachan? How did you communicate with him?
Before we were transferred, in fact, they already designated us to carry out the guard duty. And once we received that guard duty, it means that we would be at a fixed location there. And if there was a new instruction, it would happen like 2 or 3 months after. And during the period that I was at Krangtachan office, I only met my superior once because I was there for only 4 or 5 months. And in fact, the commander never came to see us. It was us who were called to meet him.
Et quand l'avez-vous rencontré?
And when did you meet him?
It was during the daytime at the division headquarters.
Comment avez-vous su qu'il fallait aller?
How did you know that you had to go to the headquarters of the division?
A messenger came to call us. At that time, the only way of communication was via messenger.
Donc, si je résume ce que vous venez.
So if I were to sum up what you have said, throughout the period you spent at Krangtachan, you received instructions only once, and those instructions were that you should go to the division. Apart from that, you never received any other instructions. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Et ni Ta'an ni Ta.
And neither Ta'an nor Taduk could give you instructions regarding work you had to do at Krantachan.
Yes, that is correct.
Alors comment se fait-il que vous soyez...
In that case, how come your status was changed from that of a guard to that of a typist? Who instructed you to work as a typist?
I was not later become a staff of the Krantachan Center. I was only called to assist when the regular typist was not available, and it was only for a short period of time because I knew how to type, so I could replace the regular typist. And after I finished the typing of the documents, then I would return to my guard duty.
Vous n'avez pas répondu à ma question.
You have not answered my question. Who instructed you to assist as a typist?
There was only one of the two, Ta'an or Ta'duj.
Alors lequel était-ce?
And which of the two gave you those instructions?
Could you please repeat your question?
Qui?
Which of the two persons asked you to work as a typist, Ta'an or Tadut?
Both of them, in fact. Sometimes An called me to assist in typing, and sometimes it was Duj who called me to assist with the typing. So both of them would call me to assist in typing when the typist was not available.
Pourquoi? Si...
Why? If Ta'an and Taduk were not your superiors, why did you accept to assist as a typist, even though your duty was to work as a guard outside of the center?
You should know, at the time during the Khmer Rouge regime, most of the people were illiterate, and I was kind of literate because I knew a bit about the letters, about the typing. So once they knew that I was able to read and to type, then they asked me to assist them. As a matter of fact, they did not have authority over me, the two of them, but they would just call me to assist. And they did not have the authority to instruct the six-man unit that I belonged to. But because I knew how to type, and when they needed assistance, then I just lent them a hand.
Et c'est le seul coup de main que vous ayez donné?
Was that the only thing you did by way of assistance, or you did other things to assist?
I did not have any other skills besides the limited knowledge in letters and in typing.
Alors, j'aimerais que vous nous expliquiez.
I would like you to explain in further detail where you learned to type.
I learned to type at the primary school in Ong Chuk. I was at year 8 in the old education system, and in fact I learned to type since I was young, so that I could still remember how to type. And when the war broke out, although I did not go to school anymore, I could still recall how to type, although it was not the skills that I actually earned or effective in.
Donc vous nous dites que vous avez appris.
So you are telling us that you learned to type in the primary school. Were there many pupils in the primary school who learned to type, or you were the only one who learned to type?
Yes, there were a few other students, and not many at the time. Usually, we learned to type during the break, and we actually went to the library to learn to type, and there was no typing instructor.
So there was no instructor, and there was a typewriter. And since you saw the typewriter, you said, hey, I'm going to learn how to type. It might be useful later on.
At that time, I was young, and I saw a typewriter, and I wanted to learn how to type, and I wanted to know it. And during the primary school that I was there was no other typewriter around. There was only one in the library, and I used it. And my sole purpose was just to learn how to type.
And how old were you when you discovered these gifts?
Answer. I was probably 13 or 14 years old. It was before the coup d'etat in 1970. I was probably 13 or 14 years old.
And between primary school and Krang Tachan, you never worked as a typist. Never. Is that correct?
Avez-vous
Did you ever type between the time you were in primary school and when you were at Krang Tachang?
Answer. No, I didn't. I didn't do any typing in between.
Alors, comment
So how did Ta'an and Taduk get to know that you knew how to type? How did they get to know that?
Answer. At the beginning, when I arrived in that center, I was asked about that. I reported to them that I can read and write, and I told them that I can do the typing, and I told them that I can do typing, but I was a bit fearful at the beginning because my skill was very limited.
And you replaced someone, if I understood correctly. So who did you replace?
Answer: no, I did not replace any one of them.
Donc,
So you were the first one at Krang Tachang to use a typewriter. Is that so?
Answer: no, it was not my first time, because there were several other people did that before. I don't know how many of them do the typist, but I was the last person to arrive and do the typing.
I'd like you to tell me exactly how far the guard post was where you were working from the center at Krang Tachang. Because I heard 1 kilometer, I heard further. So I'd like to know exactly how far you were from the Krang Tachang center.
Answer: there were 2 phases. The first was when I was stationed about 1 kilometer away, and later, about 1 year later, I was assigned to guard at the gate to Krang Tachan, and the gate and the surrounding fence altogether, it was only 1 hectare, 0.5. It's about 150 meter. I was stationed at the gate, and there were 2 gates, one to the east and another one to the west of the center.
je ne comprends pas.
I don't understand very well. I need more clarification. You say at the start you were about 1 kilometer away. Is that so? And then you were at the gate. Was this gate further than 1 kilometer away, or was it closer to the center?
Answer: the fence of the center, as I told you earlier, the size was probably 1.5 hectare. So the first gate was 1 kilometer, and later my place was closer to the compound, and the center was very small in size. It's about 1.5 kilometers, and there were 2 phases. The first, I was about 1 kilometer, and the second phase, I was stationed at the gate of the fence, and the compound totally about 150 square meter.
So you were next to a fence circling an area of 150 square meters, which means that you were very close to the center. Almost within the compound.
When I was assigned to the gate, it was inside the center.
កន្លែងរោងសម្រាប់របស់
The place where we stay was adjacent to the gate to the center.
Is it there where you heard prisoners screaming, prisoners who were being tortured? Was it there, or was it when you were a kilometer away?
Answer. Yes, when I was closer at the gate, I could hear the screamings from the prisoners.
Donc, vous
So you heard the prisoners scream, but you never heard loudspeakers. That's what you told us earlier, isn't it? Never loudspeakers, never gunshots, but however, you heard screams. Is that the case? Can you confirm that that is what you said? Can you confirm that that is what happened?
Respond. Yes, this is true. I told you the same account as I told the court earlier.
So you're telling us that you did not hear any loudspeakers, or you did not see any?
Answer. I did not see, nor did I hear any music on the loudspeaker.
Did you see injured prisoners?
Answer. No, I don't. I have never seen that.
avez-vous
Did you see any prisoners step out of the compound?
Answer. Yes, I saw some of them who stepped out, but I don't know whether they were let out to go home or to go anywhere.
Or when they stepped out, were their hands tied, or were they completely free? Was someone with them, or were they on their own?
When they left Krang Tachan Center, no one escorted them. But when they were sent out from Krang Tachan, most of them were tied up. So these ones were not released to go to their home. When they were tied up with both hands behind, they sent out, and other people would come and receive them at the center. I just witnessed that they were brought out from the detention and handed over to another group of people to send them away. I don't know what happened to them.
And who made up this other group?
Answer, I don't know.
Ils passaient par hasard?
Were they there just by chance? Or were these people who had received specific instructions, according to you?
Answer: I don't know whether they came accidentally or they receive order from anybody. I have no idea. I just saw them taking the prisoner away.
And when people would show up at the gate, or when people would show up at the wall or at the gate, did they have to provide documents? Did they need to obtain any kind of leave to come within the compound?
Answer: no. They were in black uniform, carrying rifle, and they enter into the compound. All I had to do was to open the door for them. I did not ask for their identity because they are in such uniform, so I had to open the door for them.
Since you stopped working at Krang Tachang, did you ever meet any former members of the Krang Tachang staff? Or did you ever meet any former prisoners who were at Krang Tachang?
Answer: for the staff who worked with me in a 6-man group, I have never met him. We were separated and they were married. And I didn't see any prisoners because I left Krang Tachan in July 1978, and I returned to my unit because I was the first one to leave and join my unit.
So you never saw any prisoner from Krang Tachang again? Never?
No, later I have never met any of them. I met only Soy San, but not any other prisoners.
And wasn't Soy Sen a prisoner at Krang Tachang?
Answer: no. He was one of the prisoners, but he was detained before my arrival. But when I left the center, he was still there in that prison. I don't know when he was released.
Let me put a question to you that might seem a bit strange to you. Today, do you have rather fond or unpleasant memories of Krang Tachang?
Answer: at the moment, I would like to tell your honors that for the rest of my life, I don't want to know, I don't want to see, and such a regime, I don't want to recall, to remember for my younger generation. This is my bitterly experience. I don't know much because I was young. I was not a cadre. I know very little information. Because I could not see, I could not hear. Sometimes I just heard. This is my regret that I do not remember everything very well. However, I could say that it is my bad regret in my life.
So if I sum up what you just said, you saw very little. You heard a few howls. And you're telling us that you have a lot of regret. So what is this regret? And why was your stay at Krang Tachang so difficult?
Answer. It was not an interesting thing for me, but at that time I was young. I do not remember things. So the activities or any bad thing happening to other family members, I do not remember everything. That is why I feel very hopeless in myself.
So this will be my last question. You say that you have regret. Is this regret with respect to yourself, or is this regret with respect to the people who were detained at Krang Tachang?
Answer. I feel regret for myself and also those who were detained. It was a wall-less or a prison without wall. So when you are driving a horse cart, so the horse would be harnessed and with something to cover the eyes. The horse can see only one direction, not the other way. So this is my example for you, Judge.
Mr. President, I have no further questions to put to this witness.
បាទអរគុណលោកចក្រមឥឡូវនេះឲ្យដល់វិធីការជនទៅក្រមមេធាវីការពីក្តីដែលចាប់ពីដំបូងនេះគឺសូមដល់វិធីការជនទៅក្រមមេធាវីការពីក្តីលោកនួនជាសូមអញ្ជើញ
President, now the floor is given to the defense counsel for Mr. Nuon Chia to put question to the witness. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, Mr. Witness. I have a few questions to put to you. I would like to take you back first to the period before 1975, before Dakio provincial town was taken. And I would like to read to you part of a statement of a cadre also from the southwest zone like yourself. Mr. President, I would like to put before the witness E127/7.1.8, English ERN 0090-1569, French ERN 0097-8646, and Khmer ERN 00893277. Mr. Witness, this is a statement, like I said, from a southwest zone cadre, and I would like to read a few excerpts from this statement, and I would like to ask your reaction, please. So this cadre says the following in question A5, answer A5. With this regard, Grandfather Mok issued an order that the commune, district, and sector levels did not have the authority to make arrests or kill people. The investigator then asks the following question. Grandfather Mok said that the district and sector levels did not have the authority to kill people. Why were many people killed in the districts and the sectors? And then the cadre answers in A7, I did not know either about the implementation, but I recall Grandfather Mok's remarks clearly. Next question, was Grandfather Mok in the zone committee? Answer 8, yes, he was. And then, specifically, the next passage, I would like to ask you a reaction on that. That is question A9. When did Grandfather make this announcement? Answer. Grandfather Mok made this announcement prior to 1975 during a wrap-up meeting held annually in Forest, participated by the commune, district and provincial committees and the regiments. After 1975, there was another meeting in the provincial town of Takiu in the presence of Grandfather Mok and Som, who was in the Sector 13 committee, announced that soldiers with the ranks from second lieutenant to colonel were not to be harmed. My question specifically goes to the last sentence, that there was an announcement in 75 that soldiers with the ranks from second lieutenant to colonel were not to be harmed. Does a meeting like this or earlier meetings in the Southwest Zone bring back any memories with you?
Answer. Since I joined the Khmer Army, I never attended any meeting. I have never met Mok. I heard only his name. Even though in a small or a large meeting, I did not attend any of the meeting at all. So I don't know what happened, what announced in any meeting.
Maybe you did not personally attend such a meeting, but do you remember if in 1975 or before 1975 your commanding officer or his commanding officer said words to the same effect, that soldiers with the ranks from second lieutenant to colonel were not to be harmed? Do you remember any of this?
Answer. No, I didn't hear anything like that. I didn't hear anyone saying like that.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. I would like to move on now to Krang Tachan, the Re-Education Center. Do you remember well a woman in that Re-Education Center, a woman who was cooking for prisoners, Grandmother Noor?
Answer. Yes, I heard her name, Ye Nyo, but I don't know her well. But Ye Nyo was detained there before my arrival. When I left the center, I don't know whether she was still there. When I was assigned to Krang Tachan, she was already there ahead of me.
Do you remember two of her children, Mia Sarat or Rat and Mia Soka or Ka?
Answer. I don't remember them.
Earlier you were asked about Mia's Poon. I take it from your previous answer that you wouldn't know whether Mia's Poon is in any way related family-wise to Mia Sarat or Mia Soka?
Answer: no, there was no relationship by blood or in-law.
But this would imply that you would know Rat and Ka, Mia Sarat and Mia Soka, or am I misunderstanding your answer?
Answer: I heard their name, but I don't know them.
Do you happen to know whether a fellow guard, his name was mentioned earlier, Van Son, was somehow related to the husband of Mia Sarat?
Answer: no, I don't know. I don't know this person.
One quick question about Sai Sen before I move on, and I will come back to Sai Sen. But are you living right now close to him, about 2 kilometers from his village? Is that correct?
Answer: I don't know where he is living. I don't know his residence.
So this means that you're also not in contact with him. Have you spoken to him after 1979?
After 1979, Mr. Sai Sen came to my home once, and I cannot recall the details of that conversation. It was just a social meeting, and that was the only time that I met him.
Just to be sure, did you, after 1979, ever speak on the events in Krang Tachan with grandmother Noor, her children, Sarat or Soka, or anybody else who were detained there or who was a guard?
After 1979, I have not spoken or met any of them.
Mr. President, I would like to show the witness a few pages from some documents. This line of questioning might take a while. I don't know if you would like to break now or that I should continue with these questions.
If that is the case, let me break early so that it's not going to interrupt the process of your questioning. The time is now appropriate for a short break. We will take a break now. And return at 10 to 3. Court officer, could you assist the witness and the duty counsel during the break and have them return to the courtroom at 10 to 3. The court is now in recess.
សូមចេញក្រោកឈរ